Good morning, everyone. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for the 13th day of November 2018. Well, if you've been here before, thank you for coming back. Okay, what did I do here? Well, let me take a moment here and fix my cards. I don't know what happened. Some of them got turned around. Anyway, being the 13th, I don't generally reduce that in numerology to a 4, although you can, but I view it as the Master Witch number. I was born on the 13th, and when I draw a card here, I always count 13 and get the 13th one. Before I do that, I don't do that with the runes or anything, but there's only 24 runes, so what are you going to do? It really doesn't work out. But anyway, I like to look at that one as a manifestation number. You know, what are we going to manifest today? You know, Hagala is being the witch rune. That's the 9th rune of the Elder Futhark. We had that one yesterday. It's all about structure. And so, you know, you can, destruction in midst of within a fixed framework. So there's your structure, but still destruction, change, in other words. So, I mean, you can look at it that way. I haven't been using the month or the year, at least not this month, because we have 11s, you know, both 11th month, and 2018 reduces to 11. So we have illumination there. So the illumined witch number, I don't know. Well, in this year of illumination, lots of things are happening. My husband is a veteran. He served his country honorably. He's actually a disabled veteran. So he has some very, well, you don't want to have a conversation with him about the current occupant of the White House, let's just say. He finds that individual to be vile and to not have served his country, to get out on the idea of bone spurs, you know, using that excuse. He finds the whole thing now, the way that he treats veterans, to have 3 people from the Mar-a-Lago to sort of, you know, informally advise the Veterans Administration. Are you kidding me? It's become such a joke to send 5,600 troops to put up fence. Troops? Military? Really? For what invasion? Our country is not at war here with the people coming toward our border. So it's like he's made a mockery of everything. And then he goes to France. He's there on actual Veterans Day, but he can't go with the rest of the leaders to the cemetery. He respects. And when he does finally go to something, he has to stand out in the rain and acknowledge a veteran that is there, I guess an American, who's under some structure, some shelter out of the rain, that he's dry, but poor old, you know, that guy, he's got to complain because he's out in the rain and remark on it. The French army had a field day with that one, as did my husband. I know not all veterans view him the way my husband does. I realize that. Don't understand them at all, but it's how they feel, so okay. Everyone has a right to believe what they want. But to not walk down the Champs-Elysees with the other leaders for peace on Armistice Day, it was the whole reason to go. Otherwise, stay home. Don't go. Don't embarrass us this way, because that was embarrassing. To have him not show up, that was embarrassing. To not walk with the rest of the leaders of the world for peace. Well, let's count 13 and see what we have for today. We just got back from our walk, and I listened to my husband do this the whole way. So he's livid. He's just livid. He's just, and aside from being livid, he's just disappointed that veterans and the soldiers who died for peace, who died for this country, to not go, to not even go yesterday, or yesterday, and lay the wreath on the, like they always do, on the tomb of the unknown soldier, to not go. Well, you know what the topic is going to be for a while in this house, so whether I want to talk about it or not. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we have the Hermit, another card from the Major Arcana. We sure have been pulling a lot of those lately. Higher self tapping us on the shoulder and saying, hi, remember me? But here we have the sage, the crone even, the hermit, the wise man, standing atop a mountaintop with his staff and his lantern, extending love and wisdom to all. The staff represents alignment and source presence. The Merkaba star inside the lantern, I think there should be one. There usually is everywhere else. Let me see. Yeah. The Hermetic tradition. The light of source presence informing us and illuminating our path. Well, this is the 9th card of the Major Arcana. Trying to go by a light here so I can see a little better, see if there's anything I'm missing on him. In this particular deck, other non-traditional decks sort of take a little bit different approach, maybe a little more informative. There's more stuff on the card, basically, to look at and interpret. But what I like about this one is that he stands alone. He embodies unity consciousness, doesn't he? As the 9th card from the Major Arcana, you're talking completion. 9 is about completion. But we are complete, aren't we? As we are, as extensions of source energy. But it's about taking time and retreating and withdrawing from the chaos of the world and aligning a source presence and letting that inform everything. We spend a lot of time reacting. And what the Hermit is trying to suggest to us is that we need to be our own creator and to observe our own silent counsel. That is higher self informing the process. I talk about that a lot, but basically what this time is for all of us is a time of awakening into our own truth of who we actually are as the souls that embody this, that inhabit these bodies that we have, that the world itself is simply a place to experience things and to see the other side of self, to understand that everything around us is simply an expression of source energy or of the creator or of all that is. But it's the ability to let that divine wisdom inform everything that we do, especially now that we're in the midst of polarity issues. It's such a, let's face it, it's the polarity issues that we're dealing with now have basically brought us almost to the precipice, haven't they? They've either the precipice for something awful to happen or the precipice for change that's positive, to renew awareness of who we are to one another. and to understand that we don't have to, that we can disagree without wanting to harm one another in the process. We have the need to win is so strong for some of us that we're willing to try to hurt people to do that. Think about that for a moment. Think about what that says for us as a people, that we're willing to do that, to go out and speak your truth in terms of protest, peaceful protests, which then turns violent. And then everyone's standing around going, why is that person on the ground bleeding? Well, raise your voice if you want to, but keep it, don't let it be violent. Don't go to someone else's state like what's happening in our state here. We have protesters coming in from out of state to cause issues here. Well, go protest in your own state. Don't come here to do it. Those that live here want to do it, fine, but don't bring trouble to some other state. Why would you do that? But that seems to be another thing that's happening. But it's the need to push your own view to the point that it becomes violent. If you've gotten to that point, well, become the hermit, please. Stay home. Go up in your little place and find your center, because you're clearly out of control. And it just seems to me that, whether we look at today as a 13 or as a 4, we need to be thinking about what is the foundation that we come from. This is Zewas. And it's the 19th rune. Let's come over here. 19th rune of the Elder Futhark. You can see that it's got Laguz in it, forward and reversed. It looks similar to Manaz, but Manaz, actually, you have an X in the middle. So you have it's a combination of, it includes Dagaz, really. But this is Zewas. It's the 19th rune of the Elder Futhark. You're looking at, numerologically, that's a 1, and that's new beginnings. And it's about who we are. Well, it's a water element, like Laguz, okay? It's going to be a water element, so it's going to be about abrupt change. But it's also about partnership. It's related. I'm going to find Manaz, and I'm going to show you what I mean, because this one in particular, though, here it is. And I'll show you the difference between the two. But Ewaz kind of represents the Merkaba, or the vehicle for the soul. It's a journey. And it's about, you can see, like I say, Laguz, forward and reverse there. It goes, Laguz does this. So, but here we're talking about the journey within form and the soul's journey. It can be used in trance work. It brings people together in partnership. But how it relates similarly to Manaz is the 20th rune. So basically you start here in Ewaz, okay, and then you progress to Manaz, and you can see how they look similarly. Only here you have, instead of Laguz coming together forward and reverse, here you have Vunyo, which is joy, forward and reverse. So basically what you're looking at here, though, with Ewaz, and then of course Manaz being the 20th rune, that's 2, so that's balance and polarity. But here we're coming together. It's almost like we're pulling it together toward union, aren't we? Now you can look at that union of polarity. So perhaps yeah, I like the idea of it being pulling together, the energetic pulling together of polarity. especially when you know that the next rune is Menas, which is about mankind and humankind and how we come together in unity and love and peace and harmony. But if you look at the Hermit in terms of integrated polarity as well, and being informed solely by source presence, and then you bring in Ewas to it, then you're actually looking at the energetic union of that polarity within in Ewas. And since we're having troubles with that, and today is the 13th day in this month and year of illumination, it's kind of like the witch is sandwiched in illumination. I think we did that on the 7th too, didn't we? Because that's the number for magic. But I think for today, if we look at 13 as a manifestation number, then what Ewas is telling us is that we are manifesting integrated polarity. I think that if we're being given a window into what doesn't serve us, then maybe we're on the precipice of change for integrated polarity. Maybe we're discovering that the polarity issues that we're having just aren't worth the headache that it's causing. You know, we watched, look, you can say what you want to about the whole Kavanaugh situation, okay? But just in terms of energetic flow only, okay? Not in terms of whether or not he should be on the court or not, okay? But what we had a different flow of energy this time around. Whenever we go and we're going to put another person on the Supreme Court, I don't care if they're controversial or not, we always are given everything about that person. All right, the senators involved on the committee all have the ability to look and see about that person, who they are, what their record is, and what, so that they can make an informed decision. It shouldn't be about partisan stuff. It shouldn't be about party politics. It should simply be about whether or not this individual would make a positive addition to the court. Can they look dispassionately at cases in a way that then follows our Constitution? Okay, that's all we really should be doing. But what we witnessed this time was something completely different. Over 100,000 pages of information on this man were not given. And then as some of them came out, there was a whole host of them that did not. And then, of course, we had, Dr. Ford came out and gave her testimony. And we saw what kind of a three-ring circus all of that turned out to be. Now, I'm not saying that she was lying. I'm not talking about that being the three-ring circus, because rumor has it and reports are she still can't go home. So what's happened to her in this process, if anyone thought she did it intentionally just to do something bad to this guy, you don't invite that. No woman does. I don't care who you are. So people need to forget that. Now, but what the energy of this was, is you saw all of these men, okay, and this is significant, on the committee that were pro-Kavanaugh, simply wanted to push everything under the rug. Well, as any mother knows, when your child wants to do something like that, you know they're lying to you. You know that there's more to the story and you need to get to the bottom of it. Well, time will tell, and eventually we're going to know just exactly whether or not he's right to be on the court or he isn't. Okay, that's coming. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying here is that the energetic flow of this should have been enough to stop that process and make sure that it was done properly, and then let the chips fall where they may. It's like all of this energy and momentum to suppressing voting. Either let's not count these votes, let's not look at these votes, let's not open that box, oh my God, what are they doing? They just want to see what the vote was, folks. And what we see here with Ewas is maybe a coming together of the energy that is pushing everybody apart. Okay? And with the Hermit presenting today, what he's trying to say to us is, look, you need to remove yourself from all of that drama of what you want and step back and see what is the best situation here. Well, anytime you have a situation where you vote, you count all the votes. That's the best situation. Then you figure out what the result was. Then you deal with that. But you don't create a result by suppressing the vote. You see what I mean? So what we have here, in a sense, is energies coming back together in potential alignment so that truth can come out, so that somebody stands up and says, stop this now. Okay, we're going to do the right thing. We're going to have balance, and we're going to have truth, and we're going to come together in a way that is in service of that, no matter what the outcome is, no matter who gets elected. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that we can trust that process, that we can trust that energy flow to come together so that truth can be found. It doesn't matter what the truth is. It really doesn't. We'll have to contend with the fallout of the truth. But as long as the process can be trusted, isn't that better than to have to always wonder, well, geez, did he really get elected? Did that person really get elected? Did that measure pass? Is that law really a law now? Or was it finagled somehow? So Ewas then is about change, and the Hermit is about interchange and inner stability and where that comes from. So on this day of the witch, or structure, however you want to look at it, maybe think about that. How do you come together in an integrated way with others so that truth can resonate? Are you trying to block that process? Because if you are, you're suspect. You really are. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you be so confident in this process that's been going on for over 200 years in one fashion or another in this country? Why wouldn't you be confident with that? Is it because you know the voting machines can be easily hacked? Is it because you know that there's a problem and you want to maximize that for your own benefit? Well, that isn't what we are here. Aren't we better than that? I think so. So anyway, something to think about, how we integrate the polarity within so that we're able to then be kind to one another and come together. I mean, we don't have to agree all the time. We aren't going to agree all the time. You know, there's always going to be people that see things differently than one another. It's just humans. But it doesn't mean that we have to destroy everything in the process just to get our own way or to destroy the integrity of our system. We don't have to do that. We can choose another way that is integrated and loving and respectful. So anyhow, something to think about today on this witchy day, in this month and year of illumination. So check out my blog, Stepping Aside, at imsteppingaside.com. I put some stuff up there this weekend. I might have done something yesterday. I don't remember. Maybe I didn't. I'm probably going to write something today, though. So anyhow, check it out if you like. Hit subscribe. Also, I'd love you to do that. Thanks so much for coming by. If you've been here before, welcome back. And if you haven't been here before, I do this 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday. And anyhow, be kind to yourself, be kind to other people, and blessed be.